Alrighty, so I did a short before and I said I was going to do a video to talk about where I'm at in the artist's way and how I'm stuck at chapter 6 for now going into week 6. Week 6, let me see, I keep a logbook where I write down everything in terms of what day I'm on of the entire journey. This is week 10, day 7, so week 11 begins tomorrow. And this is a 12-week journey. If you do it at its most compact. You can take 2 weeks each. You can do them as needed, but 6 weeks on one chapter is way too much, and I've lost a thread. That May 30th fateful day where after doing the wrap up of week 5, I fell and hurt myself. And everything that spawned. And then the heat wave with the surgery coming up, which, see, I got my chemo port removed. I'm really happy about that. That happened on Monday, the 30th. That ended the month of June. And, well, I knew from, actually at the beginning of the month, I really thought I was starting week 6. And I really thought that I was getting my wind again. That day in the garden when I did the recap, I felt like I was starting to regain my momentum. That wonderful momentum I had the first month where everything seemed to be, even though I had all of the same problems and worries and issues and additional stuff, because boy, oh boy, did the stuff start happening as soon as I began this thing. And it's funny because I have a friend who told me that she did it many years ago and that all hell broke loose. It was like the most traumatic time. This does not happen. Don't get scared. Don't get scared. There are many people who go through it fine and dandy. Some people go through it and nothing happens. Some people go through it and then make it a regular, I don't know, once every 2-year thing. I went through it in 2011 into 2012, and like I said in my other videos, big magic happened. And unfortunately, something came to take it away, but the fact is that big magic happened. I was really focused, and I was really also using very intentional daily visualization. And I'm not talking about like any setting aside a certain amount of time or anything like that. I'm talking about I'd be going through my day. I could be walking from my car to the store. I miss my car so much. I don't have a car since January, and it's just set me back. I can't even tell you how much. Living in a place where you need a car and everything is not walking distance. I need a miracle. I'm so trapped. And my rides, I had 3 supports. 2 are out of the picture for now, and it's too much for one. So they're doing what they can, but I cannot call on them for everything. So I'm in a pickle. But I'm not, like I said in one of my shorts, I have to live. I was being like, I was having like a really hard and frustrating time, and I was like, I live in today now. I live strictly in today because I couldn't see any future, and I still can't. But honestly, I think that's the best advice for me at this time, and for many of us, like, because really, who knows what's going to happen. More on that maybe later in this video, maybe in another video, but it is actually a sign of the times. It's part of the times. It's being reflected by world events, but beyond that, it's actually we're on schedule astrologically, put it that way. So being in the present, really, when I started this, I said I was going to surrender it all up to the universe, because I had enough of struggling and stressing and every day the same thing, getting up only to try to figure out how to make it through. I know I keep talking about this, but I don't feel like I have an audience that's watching all of my videos. So if anyone's popping in to see this and sticking around, which would be major, you might not know. You might be like, why is this woman showing up, not giving a crap what she looks like, with like not even bothering with the background, the lighting? It's because this is my journey. This is my documentation from rock bottom to getting myself back up on my feet. That's the ideal. That's the plan. It's going to take a veritable miracle, like no bullshit. I have to be delusional and believe. I said it in my first video that I was going to be like the fool in the Rider-Waite tarot deck. I have my deck over there, but I don't want to waste time. I'm really trying to get these videos down because they keep ending up into like 45 minutes. And I keep on making so many and deleting them. I need to get better at this. This is enough. It's been 10 weeks already. Yes, I'm on chapter 6, but it's been 10 weeks because I drew out chapter 1 by 2 weeks because I was in the ER twice and I was going through a GI thing that was just unbelievably long. Then after that, I ended up falling and hurting myself. My knee got infected. I needed x-rays. The shoulder x-ray showed something that wasn't supposed to be there anymore because they were supposed to take it out along with the cancer. That marker that's still in my body was marking like, here, this is the lymph node to take out. That coil is still in my body. And I only found out because I fell and hit my left knee, my hip, my shoulder, my palms. So yeah, then that precipitated into me having to get in touch with my tumor team and them trying to mollify me and tell me I wouldn't worry about it. The doctor, the surgeon, did the whole procedure with the blue dye and all this. It's called a sentinel node biopsy. And he took out all the lymph nodes that lit up, and it had to have come out. It must have just migrated the coil. And when I looked online at what the chances of that are, it was like 0.03%. But I'm like, what do I know? Okay, because they were telling me they see it often. When I went to get an ultrasound, they couldn't see the coil, but that doesn't matter, because when I got the ultrasound before the procedure, before the operation to remove what was left of the cancerous node after chemo, it shrunk a lot, and the tumor in my breast, which had metastasized to that. I had stuff in my right and left breast. So they couldn't see it either. None of the other, I can't tell you how many chest CT scans I've had since then. Especially since they have been monitoring me for these lung nodules. I have COPD. So they do every 6 months a CT scan, which I don't know if is worse than just leaving it be. And because, I mean, that's a lot of radiation. I've been being nuked to high hell. Anyway. Yeah, I went to get an ultrasound, and they were like, we don't see anything, and we don't even see the nodes. We don't see any nodes there. If it's still there, it's probably shrunk to so tiny. And I'm like, I don't care how tiny it is if it still has cancer in it. That's the last step before metastasis. And they insisted I wouldn't worry about it. But when I asked them, what are the chances it migrated? They're like, And so that left me feeling really uneasy, because my radiation doctor and my oncologist both were really pushing the migration theory. And I said to them, that's what they said. And they were like, I said to them, they said they see it often. And the tech and the ultrasound doctor, they were like, well, I wouldn't say often. We do see it, but it's really not often. So, this is something that I don't like to have uncertainty over, and I kind of feel like it's so out of my hands. What can I do? I just had a mammogram, 3D mammogram, and ultrasound back in February, I think it was. If they didn't see anything, I feel better. I confirmed with them that they did check the axillary area, and they said, oh yeah, definitely, we do that automatically, especially with someone with your history. So I'm just gonna have to let it go. I can kind of rest more assured in the fact that I did have further treatment with a month of radiation after that. After the surgery, I had 5 months of chemo, a month of the surgery, and then a month of radiation, and now I'm on these hormone blockers for 10 years, which they probably will take away my insurance now, so I don't know how I will get them. So I may not be able to protect myself from cancer recurrence, let alone COPD or my GI issues or anything else. But I've gotten sidetracked. But you need to know where I'm coming from. So you need to know how frustrated I am already with not being able to live a normal life, because I had all of these underlying conditions before being diagnosed with cancer. That was the cherry on top, and I was done. I was like, yeah, this is time for me to bow out. Except, I cannot leave my mom behind. I'm her sole caretaker. There are other family around, but she will only tell me, and barely that. I have to pull teeth to get it from her when something's wrong. But she would never in a million years dream of calling someone else to let them know that she was going through something. In fact, when she was here with me on Monday, because she came with me to when I got the port removed, and then my uncle drove us there. He drove us back here. She stayed with me Monday night through Tuesday to Wednesday evening. But Tuesday morning, poor thing, her whole wrist was all swollen and red and hot. She couldn't do a thing. I needed her help because I couldn't maneuver things that were, tough or heavy to do, which I didn't think she could anyway, because she's 4'8" and like 82 pounds. She's tiny and she's disappearing. So yeah, I was really concerned about what was going on with her, and she was in pain. I gave her Tylenol. She can't take NSAIDs. Neither can I. And I was just glad that she was here with me when that happened, because that's one thing that she has never had happen before, and I wanted to monitor that. So I made her stay an extra day. Well, thankfully, it started to go down right away. I think she put something cold on it, like a cold towel with cold water. I don't know, but it started to go down, and by afternoon it was so much better. The next day it was better, thank God. But it's things like this. She will not bring it up to anyone else because she is so afraid of putting anyone out. I have been raised like this. I have been raised not to bother anyone. I could be dying. I could be having a freaking stroke or a heart attack. Don't bother anyone. I mean, thankfully, I have been able to call on one of my uncles when I needed help with my infected knee after the fall, and he drove me to urgent care twice and to get the medication I needed. Thank God. And he also drove us shopping yesterday and paid for the groceries, which was, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Anyway, all of this to say that so much has been going on. So much has been on my head. We went through a heat wave. You're hearing all of this because it's the 4th of July, which I'm not really celebrating because there's nothing to celebrate this year, as far as I'm concerned. Freedom? Yeah, right. Anyway, as I say, whenever I'm looking this way, I'm looking at my calendar. My calendar has, I'm in July now. I flipped the page. June was filled to the brim. July already has a whole bunch of stuff on there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 things I can see from here. I can't see what they are. I know I have a telehealth appointment coming up next Monday, and then I have to see my oncologist a Monday after that. I need to see my onco primary care doctor, if they even have an availability in July. there are several other doctors I had to cancel because of ER and other ailments that I need to reschedule with. So all of this has made it incredibly impossible for me to have regular work. There's no one who's going to say, take as much time as you need. I mean, especially now without a car. Without a car, I have no way of getting anywhere. So I wouldn't even know how to get to a job. I need to work from home. I don't have a laptop anymore. It conked out. My phone is so old. Sometimes it'll black out and I'll have a heart attack because everything's on there. And without this phone, my lifeline is gone. I don't have a printer. I don't have the basics to work from home. Plus, I need things to be on the up and up so that I don't, I don't want to fall into any shady circumstances and be misconstrued as trying to do something wrong, because I'm a really ethical person, number one. Number two, even though I'm rethinking that, because what does ethics count when the system is unethical? However, it's just musing, pondering, because I don't need any more stress in my life. I would rather do things the right way. To do things the right way, I would have to register as a business. I've got bill collectors now hounding me. If I start to make money, they're just going to take it away from me. I need to file for bankruptcy. Isn't it wonderful that I have all of that on my head while I'm trying to do recovering a sense of abundance? So even though I haven't really been able to dig into week 6 other than read the chapter, which in fact I found very inspirational, and the tasks I found not undoable. I thought they were going to be things that, given the subject matter, for sure I wasn't going to be able to do, because the other stuff she has in the other chapters, there's many things I just cannot do, because whether you're talking about like you don't have to spend that much money on it, I have no money, none. Like everything is accounted for. So if I'm going to have even one more month in an apartment and have the money for at least I need to supplement to get through July. And that's not for groceries. I don't have money for groceries. I mean, I do for maybe another week and a half, maybe. But there's other expenses coming up. There's urgent expenses for myself and my mom. My mom needs so much that has been put aside because she's been helping me. I'm here because she needs me here. It's crazy. The codependence is next level. I need to break free. I feel like it's now or never. I feel like this is my last chance to get my life. I want to say get my life back, but I don't feel like I've ever really had it. It's never been my life. When I did get my freedom, which was the last time I went through the whole thing, it was a mirage. I got my freedom from the situation where I was shackled. However, I just got reshackled, like as if someone uncuffed me from one place and then recuffed me to another. Like, I wasn't going anywhere. Even though I have notebooks filled, I saved them, filled with my plans of how I was going to finally have my own life, somewhere affordable, and my own business, which I had it planned to a T, doing what I love to do, which is floral arrangements and nature crafts, among many other artistic things. But I really love to work with preserved and dried florals, but not those dries that look dead. They look like the stuff that I would make looks vibrant and juicy and living. I mean, at this point, I may even, consider making synthetic, like silks. I don't know. I want to do something sustainable. So I need to see if there is a way to still do that. Besides the fact I don't have the money for any of that. It takes money to put together the paperwork for the business. Everything's different now. You can't bootstrap anymore. So now that you know a lot more about where I'm at and how extremely urgent it is that I pull a rabbit out of a hat within the next 3 weeks. I need to go back to square one because I've lost a thread. We're starting week 6 of chapter 6, and I've lost a thread. And I was doing it very intentionally, putting my all into it, but I never got to supplement it with the other things that I want to do. Well, very important. Creative visualization. Also, I've been reading in this last week, which has been helping me immensely. Actually, I started it last week, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza, which I have avoided this book for years because I didn't think that I was going to get into it. And it always happens that I will avoid a certain author who everyone's raving about for years. And then I'll get my downloads, or I'll get my realizations. Like, I've had some pretty good ones lately. My last one was that I realized that the subconscious and the body are actually partners, like working closely together. And then I picked up this book, Don't You Know It? He validated that whole thing. And since I'm very into quantum physics, on top of all the energetic modalities, he's the right one for me to explain this stuff, because I know all about these quantum physics principles and theories. What they call the observer effect. I like to call it the interaction effect. I think it's more precise. But okay, I get it. I just want people to know that the observer effect does not rely on human consciousness, because it was a thing way before we were ever around. Not sure it even, I happen to believe that consciousness encompasses a lot more than science has yet come to the conclusion that it does. So, I want to say that the observer effect doesn't even need a consciousness. However, consciousness may preclude all else, is the way I see it. This is very annoying. I find it extremely annoying. I wish they would stop this bullshit already. You know, I used to love fireworks, especially as a kid when my grandmother used to take me to Atlantic City for the summer. Loved. But I'm tired of it now. And now knowing, because I never realized how traumatizing it is for many, especially veterans and animals. You know, birds and dogs and, you know, it's traumatizing. And it's unnecessary. Never mind that it pollutes the environment, something awful. Like the air quality, it's like, it's not bad enough without pumping all of this bullshit into the air as well. And now that all of the checks and balances have been wiped out, listen, please, let me not get into that. I just don't understand the thinking there in terms of, like, if you have children, grandchildren, which I don't, and I'm more concerned about future generations, but whatever. So yeah. Also, space clearing I want to do. Doesn't have to be this book. It may not be this book, although I've been wanting to do that one for a while. The Marie Kondo one gets me too nervous. I love her, but I just can't do throwing everything in the middle of the floor and then having a mountain of stuff to go through, because I can't go to bed knowing that there's stuff on my floor. There's a pile of stuff on my floor. I can't do it. Nope. Although I do like her, you know, her way of giving thanks to things. Honestly, honest to God, I really believe, you know what, I don't care. You could think I'm crazy. But since we're all made up of the same stuff, and consciousness is not something we understand, how can we make sweeping generalizations of what is conscious and what is not? There may be different levels. There are different levels. We're at a different level with our human brain than we are when we're in the flow and not. Anyway, okay, off track. So, being that Mercury is about to go retrograde on the 18th and we are in pre-shadow period, I'm thinking it's time to review, regroup. Mercury's all about pulling back. Don't start anything new. Take a breather and look over what you've been working on. Review it. Revise it. Plan. You can plan to your heart's content. And I do want to make a way to do this interactively as a separate thing from the artist's way. The Mercury retrograde, I want to do prompts. I hope this isn't making it too much. I don't know if because I have the earphones in, if you're hearing battlefield outside with the fireworks. I don't know how this works. I've never been in this situation before. Also, sorry for the sniffling. It's a nervous tic that I've noticed since doing these videos, and I have to work on that. I have sinus issues, and also I used to be a lot more OCD than I am now, but I still have the tendencies more than that. So I'm going to review from the beginning, not a week at a time with each chapter, because that would be too much, but maybe I'll skim to refresh my memory. Mercury, we're in pre-shadow right now. It goes retrograde on the 18th, so, and it stays like that through I don't remember when in August it goes direct, but then you have the post-shadow period. We don't have to go through all that, and I may start the prompts as we get closer to Mercury retrograde, because I want to think about how I want to do it. I want to do it with the overall energy that is at play right now, so that we could take advantage of it. And I wanted to read you something that I listened today to someone's webinar, to some of it, because I realized it wasn't anything different than I haven't heard a million times before. But he brought up the stages of individual experience. I wrote down what they were, but then before sharing it with you, I want to find out if they were his or they came from somewhere, and they came from somewhere else. They came from a team, two people, Don Kelly and Daryl Connor. Daryl Connor, Daryl Connor, Connor, and Don Kelly, Kelly. In 1979, they came up with the model of the 5 stages of individual experience during, I write so sloppy I can't read, during voluntary change. I don't know in what context they were operating within, whether it was psychology or what, because I just quickly looked this up and no one specified. But there's 5 stages, and stage 1 is uninformed optimism, which is where I was in the first month. That whole month I was feeling a sense of peace and tranquility, a presence that I was carrying throughout my day, the ability to reroute my mind from the moment my thoughts started to spiral, without invalidating my feelings, because I'm not about invalidating how you feel. However it is you feel, even if you feel ornery, feel as ornery as you want, just feel it. Everything is all right. It's all right. Don't ever invalidate yourself. How you feel is how you feel. You feel that way for a reason. Let it, flow through you. Feel it. Really feel it. Don't act on it, but feel it and validate yourself. And then let it go. Let it move through you and be done with it. And then come back to the present and think about all the possibilities that are available that we don't know about. that we just need to be open to, which is a big thing of what the artist's way is about. Being open to the possibility that there's so much more. And it's a big thing of what my life has been about, and why I'm in the position I'm in is a mystery to me, with the focus of my life having been on the beauty and magnificence and spectacularness of life and the universe and the cosmos, and being in awe of even the smallest everyday beauties, like the patterns and the cracks in the sidewalk, and the beauty of a rusted out old fence in an industrial area. I don't know, like, I can see beauty in so many things, like the textures, the colors, it's just really, I really feel it. And funny, Meta AI helped me realize I'm kinesthetic. I don't like Meta, but Meta AI, I feel like if it was allowed to be a separate entity, it has so much promise. Too bad it's part of something that's not promising in any way. So these 5 stages, the uninformed optimism was the first month. And that doesn't mean you're wrong for being optimistic. It's just, it's like beginner's luck. Then there's informed pessimism. So when I was still in week 4, since I stretched week 1 out and stretched week 4 out by 2 weeks each, and I was interrupted with the GI diagnostic procedures and having to have my mom here, and she overstayed her welcome, and really dragged me down. It threw me off. I would not have fallen off of that amazing space that I was in had I not had that interruption. Then I was in informed pessimism. Informed, realizing what I already know, that I cannot get away from what I call my erasers. Any progress I make immediately gets erased. If I was on my own and allowed to carry on, or if I was around people who were uplifting and inspirational and supportive and recognized that the qualities in me that I was torn apart for as a child were actually the qualities of an entrepreneur and someone who could have made it big, like an inventor, instead of, I don't even want to say what I was called, the things that were hurled at me. Anyway, informed pessimism. And now I'm in the valley of despair because so much time has passed. The entirety of the time I thought I had to turn my life around with this 12-week course. Almost the entirety. And I have to figure out how I'm going to make it through July, and how I'm going to pay my bills for August, and how I'm going to survive. I have a GoFundMe, but I haven't been pushing it because everyone's hurting. Stage 4, which I hope to get to after this review, if I haven't completely fallen off and become homeless by then. Informed optimism. And stage 5 is success and fulfillment. Oh my God, how I look forward to that. Honestly, I could not even think about continuing the artist's way if it hadn't been for the fact that I started reading Dispenza's book, because it's helping me so much, because I started to feel, and I looked it up, I started looking around on forums online. The artist's way really is outdated. And also, I feel like all of this immersing ourselves into our past hurts and our past, the inner gremlins, and it's good to know thyself, but to live there long enough to re-immerse yourself in that feeling, you're reactivating it. And it's not necessary, because the brain works in a way that it doesn't know something isn't real. So you're reactivating these past traumas and hurts is actually triggering the brain to release the same chemicals and to stimulate the reminders in the body. There's another great book that I keep recommending, The Body Keeps the Score. Memory is stored in the body. It's stored in pockets in the body. That's why the moment you start getting, the moment I start getting nervous, my stomach does like a twist. The moment I feel invalidated, my throat closes up, because I feel like I've been gagged, because there's nothing I can say. I know from experience, from the particular people who invalidate me, that there is nothing I can say on this good earth that will ever have them seeing me as I am and not as they need me to be. I wish I could remember to look up my friend's Facebook post that she put, because it was so good. I was like, people keep looking for me in the building I used to live in. I don't live there anymore, and I burned that to the ground. It's like something like that. And it's true. Here people are doing so much inner work on themselves, like with so much self-awareness, and really being diligent about it. And here people are around them with no clue, keeping them labeled in boxes and hurling accusations at them from like decades and decades ago. Mind you, their spin on events from decades ago, so it may not even be accurate labels. And so I know that when the people in my life who they need me to be a certain, and I'm afraid that the followers I've gained, that maybe a couple of them are these people that seem to stalk me in order to get dirt. And to them I say, really, for your own good, for your own benefit, like for your health, for your, the upliftment of your soul and spirit, get a life. Like, stop with this pettiness. it's not, I'm learning how not to let it affect me. You need to learn how not to feed off of that. Make your food source something nutritious instead of trying to feed off of people's misfortunes and, you know, making up dirt if you have to, if you can't find it. It's not a good look. It's not good for you. Really, I'm saying this with the best of intentions. So anyway, this is longer than any of the other videos I've done, so I can't seem to get these down to a good time. I'm going to close this off now.